We're here with 3 powerhouses in the lean sector.
Some people saved money, made more profit. Recently, we've had a company who saved 8 weeks of production time.
We need to put them in the best position to survive, be flexible, be productive, be agile.
There's no substitute for direct observation. To see the turnaround of his company is just mind-blowing.
Tools and technique, that's the easy bit. It's getting your leaders engaged, motivated, and being able to sustain it. That's the real challenge.
Hello, it's Ryan.
Tools and technique, that's the easy bit. It's getting your leaders engaged and being able to sustain it. That's the real challenge. Bear that in mind as we go through this today. Now, the guy that spoke first, Ryan Tierney, he's from a little town in Northern Ireland called Limavady. Now, October just gone, he ran what was called the Lean Summit, which was people flew, over 350 people, well, in the lean space, business leaders, flew there for their summit on what he called what's known as 2-second lean, a process that I'm going to show you here today. The Irish are giving us an absolute pasting when it comes to this space. Their manufacturing is going like that because of Ryan and what he's doing. You need to go and have a look at Seating Matters and another company that he's currently working with, turning around, called Sperrin Metals. If we don't get hold of this and learn to do this, everything's going to shift that way. We need to be competing in this space as well. Not that it is a competition, but we need to be learning from these guys. These guys are the benchmark. Now, he's doing it within companies. We can go one better. My vision is to be able to do this within a whole community. In fact, this all started way back when I was in a program called Project Grow back in Gladstone. Tried to do something similar up then. Life got in the way. That thing that started with a C got in the way. I ended up over the west in Western Australia for a couple of years. Just realised that another platform that I'm currently involved with called School is a perfect place to tie all this together. I didn't really have the right tool to be able to do it back then. I created what's known as a MVP, a minimum viable product, but it wasn't really the right tool. This is. So if you've got a community and you want to do this, anyone can do this. But I'm going to show you the exact process to go through today, like who it affects, where it affects you, how much it actually affects, when it does, how you mitigate it, and give you the exact process to get in place, and show you why it works. Now, I want to work. This is why the headline for this was who will become Australia's first lean town. I want to work with that town. I can only work with one. I only had the time to be able to work with one to put that in place. If you are someone within a town, a mayor, a CEO of a council, a industry leader, and you have the connections to be able to make this happen, reach out with Australian Lean Town. We'll organise a time, catch up for a chat, see if we might be a good fit. Let's just put this light on so it's a little bit lighter so it's a bit better. A good fit to work together or not, regardless of whether you work with me or not. Take this and use it because anyone could do this. Nothing would be better for me. I'd love nothing better than to see someone else actually pick it up and run with it and beat me to the punchline. Now I'm going to read you a post because this was extremely timely. This sets the scene for what we're going to go through today. And let's make sure we've got the right screen. So Dr. Alan Bernard is world-renowned expert on something called theory of constraint. I don't know whether you've ever heard of it or not. If you don't know about it, reach out with theory of constraint. Again, we can organise a time to catch up for a chat about it. Basically, it's work that was done by Dr. Eli Goldratt, who was a physicist, and he worked out if you could find the constraint in a system, exploit the constraint, then the whole system could move much quicker. We have big constraints in our systems in the way that we run our towns. Have a listen to this post. This couldn't have been more time than this post you put up this morning. How government can transform from being bottleneck creators to bottleneck detectors and solvers, and how the private sector and academia can help. Bear in mind, he had no idea that I was running this. This post just happened to pop out of his LinkedIn feed this morning. Last week in Ottawa, I had the honour of facilitating a critical conversation hosted by the Transport Canada's Supply Chain Office and Task Force in partnership with CILTNA, whoever they are. The day began with an inspiring meeting with the Deputy Minister of Transport Canada. I can't even pronounce that, I'm sure you'll work it out. followed by a packed room of leaders from Canada's largest shipper and carrier organisations, all eager to tackle a shared challenge: how to ensure Canada's transport logistics system. I'm going to talk to this in a minute. Transport, I'm just going to write myself a note there because I want to speak to that. This is something that we can do on the Sunshine Coast right now. Sorry, but constraint to remove them. How to ensure Canada's transport and logistics system are not constrained to GDP and private sector growth. The question matters because every system has a constraint, but constraints don't remove themselves. Remove them by resolving the policy conflicts that keep them in place. As former Transport Minister Honourable Liz Wright reminded us in her opening remarks, Canada's competitiveness depends on strengthening the weakest links in our supply chains and modernising the policies that govern them. Many of those policies were created for a different era when the constraint was somewhere else in the system. Sound familiar? During the workshop, participants used my Procon Cloud method to identify the one constraint holding back flow, the one core problem behind it, the one policy conflict keeping everyone stuck, and a win-win-win innovation to remove the constraint without trade-offs. Anyway, I'll let you read the rest of the post there if you want to have a look at that. Funnily that they say transport. Transport on the Sunshine Coast, I'm going to talk to the Sunshine Coast because that's where I live, not necessarily the town I'm going to work with to do this, is, how do I say it nicely? I can't. It's fucking abysmal, right? The transport that we have, public transport to get people around here on the coast, is an absolute joke and a blight on everyone that's been involved with it to this point in time. But we're not going to attack the people that have done it. We're going to attack the process. We've got poor government processes which hold back us being able to progress quicker. We need to find where that constraint is, work out what it is and remove it, whether it's policy or whatever it is. We have a solution at the moment, which we're looking at as being the problem. These electronic scooters and e-bikes, they're everywhere. And they are an issue at the moment, the way that they're currently used, because they're trying to use the roads and you've got people on them that shouldn't be on them and they're dangerous at the moment. We keep looking at how do we build more infrastructure for roads, which is a wrong focus. How could we get some sort of a system in where people could get from one end of the coast on these electric scooter things? It would be much quicker, easier, less work till he gets paths in, foot paths in, whatever it is, to be able to use these things to start with and start linking the coast up to be able to use those rather than keep trying to build roads which we're notoriously bad. I'm not just talking about the Sunshine Coast. I'm talking about Australia in particular, or worldwide, we're particularly bad at doing. Anyway, off my soapbox now, when you get into this. So who does this affect? So every community, region, council, whatever you want to call it, basically has a setup. I did a little bit of research on this yesterday, where you've got a mayor and a CEO of the council. Now, again, I'm going to back on my soapbox again for a minute. We lost this years ago in Australia. Our government employees used to be called public servants. And we decided, someone in their wisdom decided that that was a poor name, was a put down or whatever reason. We're all here to be servants to someone. We need to flip the org chart and look at it from the top is, who are we supporting? What is our role in supporting the rest of the community? So down the bottom, that's why I've flipped it this way. We've got our mayor and our CEO, okay? The mayor looks after the strategic side of what needs to happen. That's, what are we going to do? Where are we going to be in 10 years' time? Those sorts of things. And the CEO looks after the tactical. What roads how we're going to execute our projects, those sorts of things. They support your councillors, your teams that run projects, and then your business as usual, who support like your non-profits, your businesses, your groups, your clubs, which support the community. Even though they've got people to support, but that's the way that we're going to look at how this works, basically, to start off with. So where does this all happen? What do we got? So, because we're Australian, we're freaking huge. Big areas to cover, okay? The Sunshine Coast in itself has got an area of 2,254 kilometres squared. Don't hound me down if this isn't exactly right. This is the stats that I pulled down off the internet. Other shires, I've been looking at a little shire called Boulia up in the northwest of Queensland just recently. They're running 60,906 kilometres squared. Nowhere near as many people, but they've got a much bigger area to look after with different set of problems, different constraints. On the coast, our population is 376,114 people, thereabouts. We've got, who's red? Businesses, and I'm going to put the groups, clubs, all the rest of it. I've taken a punt at, the stats said to me somewhere between 44 and 52,000. So I've said, let's go with a medium of, so we've got about 50,000 of these groups supporting the community. Then our council, from the stats I pulled off the internet, there's about 1,900 people in there supporting those. So, massive amount of people to support with much smaller resources than what's available. So we need to make sure that we're using what we've got properly. We don't change this by fighting against the current reality. There's a great quote, was by Buckminster Fuller. You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model to make the existing model obsolete. To make that new model, the first thing that we've got to do is break our anchors or our thinking to linear thinking. As in, we have to build, we need to get more people moving around, we need to build more roads. That's linear thinking, okay? So the difference between linear and exponential or 10x, I don't know whether you heard exponential or 10x or not before, this is the difference, right? So if I walk 30 metres in that direction, I'm about 30 metres from where I am right now. If I took 30 exponential steps in that direction, which is first step's a metre, second one's 2 metres, next one's 4 metres, so it doubles every time. You go 26 times around the world by taking 30 exponential steps. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but with AI and all the other things that are going on, the world's moving much quicker than it used to. I grew up in the 80s, even the 90s. It was a much slower pace back then to what it is now. We keep trying to use linear thinking at the current pace that we're moving, and the way that AI is moving at the moment is absolutely insane. We're just going to end up with bigger and bigger problems than what we've currently got. We're not going to ever fix anything, get in front of anything. Right, so we don't need to do 10 times as much. This is the good part of it, okay? We don't need to do that. All we need to do is less. There's a marketer online that I follow called Frank Kern, and he has a saying, tongue-in-cheek, which is, math is not an exact science. To multiply, move quicker, and need to subtract. Lean thinking tells us, we're going to look at a process called 2-second lean, that 10% of what we do every single day is value-added activity. 10% of what we're doing is actually serving the community, making things better. 90% is what they call non-value-added activity. Non-value-added activity looks like this. So it's driven by poor processes. Things take way too long to get done, like getting decent public transport on the Sunshine Coast. The Sunshine Motorway, they put that in. I used to come up here and surf when I was still in my apprenticeship. So we're talking nearly 30 years ago now, the Sunshine Motorway was put in, single lane each way. It's not changed much in 30 years. I don't think it's changed at all in 30 years. It hasn't been upgraded, nothing been done to other than they took the tolls out of it. Might have done a bit of maintenance on it here and there, but they've done nothing to, and look at the population increase in that time, yet we've done nothing to improve it. Waiting times go up, the traffic on there. You go, I'm in Pridgeon Springs, you go out of here at school times or lunchtime, particularly the Coolum roundabout there where the school is, and then you head to the Black Flag the other way. It's insane, the traffic bank up there. We get people doubling up, doing work twice, same stuff over and over and over again. How many community groups have to do the same piece of administration work and it's all doubled up, okay? We waste our resources. We create a heap of busy work that people's got to run around and do, And you know when people are doing busy work, because you go, why are we doing this? And they go, that's just the system. That's just the way that the system works. We stay stuck in that linear thinking. That's just the way that the system works. We ain't getting anywhere. Wasted talent, which is the 8th waste. They talk about in Lean, there are 8 wastes. 8th waste is wasted talent. It's the most insidious waste of the lot. How many of our young people come and there aren't the opportunities here on the Sunshine Coast and they leave? Talent drain. People in jobs doing things they could be doing much better stuff that could be impacting and creating a much better community. We need to look at this from being effective. Now, there's 3 levels of three ways you can do something. I learned this from a guy called RMLZ. He said you can be more productive. More productive just means you do more. Productive just means you do more. You can be more efficient. Efficient just means you do more with less. Or you can be more effective. Effective means you do more of what works. Someone can be highly productive at creating that 90% non-value added activity. And you'll see it all the time. People are really, really good. Peter Drucker said it best. Nothing so useless as doing well that which should not be done at all. Be highly productive, be highly efficient at creating waste. This 90% of non-value added activity. To be effective, you have to do more of what works, and what works is value added activity. So that's where we need to shift our focus. Okay, we need to create something that's known as flow. So we need to get, there's a great line from the book, The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. It says, if you could get all the people in an organisation rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any market and any industry under any circumstances at any time. So imagine if you get all the people here or in a community headed in the same direction, imagine what we could achieve. How we do that is what's known as flow. So we need to get these all working in sync. So if a project or a new concept or whatever comes in, we need to get it so that it's getting handed off from level to level to level to level to level, and them all moving at the same speed. The way that we do that is what's known as attack plan. We're not going to go into that today. That's not the important part of what we need to do here. If you want to know more about that, reach out and say, hey, tell me about attack plan spending. So a system that is always busy, and this comes from theory of constraint, is an ineffective system. Go and have a look at hospitals. Everyone's running around like mad people. Go and have a look at our transport departments. Crazy, crazy busy. The roadworks, it's always chocked up. Always busy. A system that is always busy is ineffective. The system should be operating at about 80% with flow. Then we're moving at our optimal speed. So that's when it happens. Here's how we mitigate it. This is the bit, I'll go back to that quote. I'm going to play that quote for you again because this is vitally important. I'm just going to play that 30-second intro for you again, and we're going to hone in on that quote that the guy says right at the end of it.
We're here with 3 powerhouses in the lean sector.
Some people saved money, made more profit. Recently, we've had a company who saved 8 weeks of production time.
We need to put them in the best position to survive, be flexible, be productive, be agile.
There's no substitute for direct observation. To see the turnaround of his company is just mind-blowing.
Tools and techniques, that's the easy bit. It's getting your leaders engaged, motivated, and being able to sustain it. That's the real challenge.
Tools and techniques are the easy bit. It's getting your leaders engaged in it and be able to sustain it. That's the hard bit. This is where we sustain the hard bit. Let me just prep this up as well. So, because we're going to have a look at a platform in a minute called School. Okay. This is how we mitigate it, and this is how we start moving this forward. And you don't need permission from anyone. You don't need to be any level of authority to be able to do this. You can start doing this regardless of who you are, where you are, and what skills you have. By the time you watch this quick video, you're going to know exactly what to do. Number one is we need to learn how to see waste and flow. I showed you what waste looks like just here. If you need more training on that, go and look at Lean Made Simple on YouTube. Have a look at Paul Akers and Fast Cap on YouTube. You'll be drowned in information on how to see waste. You need to learn how to see it, spot it. Once you see it, you can never unsee it. You learn to see waste to start off with, and then we learn how to create flow. How do we get everything moving in the same direction? Everyone moving in the same direction. Well, that's tickle. Okay. So we do that to start off with. You can start, camera took off on me. You can start teaching that to other people is the best way for you to create an impact here. Teach people how to see waste and flow. All right. When something goes wrong, you stop and you fix it. We use a little process that I learnt off a guy called Christian Bogo. This is called ORCA, which comes from fighter pilots. So when something goes wrong, we go, what was the objective of what we're trying to do here? What results came about? What caused those results? And what actions are we going to put in place to be able to mitigate that the next time that we do this? This is all a process called 2-second lean, okay? So we stop and we fix whatever it may be. No, I'm not saying we can stop and fix the road problem all of a sudden, but we could use the ORCA and go, what is causing all this issue with the traffic? The issue is we haven't updated our roads for years and years and years and years and years. What's caused that? I don't know. There's some sort of policy, something sticking it. How do we action that and get around it? Well, we need to start looking at how do we put pathways in much quicker and easier to use. And I've seen modularized pathways overseas. You just drop the sections in with solar panels in them so they generate electricity, they collect water, do all sorts of things. How do we go and look at something that modularized that we could start installing now to start fixing this issue? All right. Once we start fixing it, we take before and after videos of what we're doing. This is where you start to set yourself up. You turn up to become on the world stage. I would recommend that you create a YouTube channel for this. You don't have to. We can do this all inside a platform called School, which I'm going to show you in a minute. Before and after videos, you can go, this is the issues that we have. So we're going to get a drone. Here's the, what's the name? Traffic banked up. This was before. Get scooters running, people running on those sorts of systems. This is what happened to the traffic afterwards. We're talking on a big scale here. You can do this with small incremental problems, whatever problems that you can actually tackle and fix yourself. That's what I say. You don't need to have permission or be a councillor or running a council or be the mayor or the CEO to be able to start this within your organisation, within your household, within your school, which within whatever group that you're actually using. Before and after videos, then what we want to do is share this information. Japanese call it yoga 10, which is sharing information laterally across the organisation. It starts to then spread. Someone from the cricket club sees something that someone at the football club's doing, and they go, hey, that's a good idea, we could do that. We take that idea. Someone from the school sees something from a local business owner's doing. Hey, we could do that, we could take that, we could use that, that would improve our school. We share that in, I'm having trouble with the buttons here today. You've gone to my other whiteboard. Share that in a little platform called School. The reason that we use School is because it drives what's known as exponential organisations or exponential communities. Exponential organisation is one that is 10 times better, quicker, faster than its closest competitor. So let's have a look at what they studied. Startups. I spoke to earlier that I was in a startup back in Gladstone when this all started. They studied them and worked out how come they could scale so quick. Back in those days, and this is, I'm only talking 4 or 5 years ago, if a startup went from 0 to $1 billion valuation in 10 years, that was quick. They used to call it a unicorn, a business that went to, a startup that went to $1 billion valuation. These days they do it in under 12 months with minimal number of people. They studied them to see what they did differently. They had 12 core attributes. Number one was, we're not going to go into it today, but they had what's known as an MTP, massive transformative purpose. Now the MTP for this is to become the leanest town in Australia. That's the North Star. That's where we're heading. We wanted to become that. Got to stop waving my hands around because the camera thinks I'm trying to give it a signal and it takes off. So that's our MTP, okay? So the other 11 attributes that we had inside school is staff on demand. So we can use this as, instead of looking at staff on demand, it would be volunteers on demand. We could spread the load around with our volunteers. We can create community and crowd inside there. It's not really an algorithm, but we could use AI to pull data back from it to be able to do that. It's a leveraged asset. The platform's cheap, very cheap to run. I run on the premium package, which is like $97 a month US. A community, a club, anyone could get this, go and use it, and I think it is $9 US a month, which will do everything that you need to do to be able to run this lean process just here. Creates engagement because people are going to put videos up. Hey, we had this little problem. This is how we fixed it. This is an idea that you could take and use. It's an interface. Everyone within the community can see it. Think back to when we had Facebook in the early days and you could actually see what you wanted to see on your Facebook page. School gives you that opportunity again because you're not fighting with everyone else for everyone else's attention. You've got them moved out of social media where all the noise is in this little platform. It's got dashboards, track progress. People can run little experiments in there. We're trying this at the moment. This is what we're doing. Tell their story. Creates autonomy for people. People can take charge of creating their own piece of the community, of improving it. And it's a social technology. All right, so I'll show you how it ticks off those boxes by giving you a look inside my community right now. Just need to go to, where is that one there? All right, so this is school. I want to have a look at what I'm doing. Just go to school. It's school with a K. If you didn't like school with a CH, neither did I. But I love this one. skool.com/scrum is my school. That's construction school. I call it construction school because I predominantly work with people in the construction industry. The same principles that I teach in construction school are exactly what we're using here today. I'm just putting different context around it. This is how I would go and change a community. It's the exact same way I build a construction project, funnily enough, because changing a community is, for all intents and purposes, a project. It's exactly the same process. So, as I said, we could have one of these little tabs at the top here, different categories. So we could have one of those called volunteering. People could put call outs in there. Hey, we need someone to help us out with X on the weekend. You're not fighting with all the other noise that everyone else has got in social media. And you could actually, the other way that you could do that is you've got in here, there's a calendar. So people could put little events in there to call people out to come and help out with different things. Community and crowd, as you can see, it is very much community based. If you go to the school, just go to skool.com. Ask me for a link if you don't mind, because if you buy, then I might make a small commission on the $9 a month that you spend. I'll get $4. Pay for half a schooner. That's $4 US actually, so it might actually buy me a schooner. So just reach out and go and have a look. There's communities there doing all sorts of things, but I haven't seen a community for building a community or running a town like this, like we're talking about so far. algorithm's going to skip. It's a leverage, what they call a leverage asset, which means that you just turn up and you pay a small amount for it, instead of having to go in and get someone to build a page and build this whole platform and all the rest of it. Just try and get this camera to focus. Yep. It's there ready to go for a minimal amount of money. So it's a leveraged asset. Creates engagement. People, you can post, like I've got just there, you can see that GIF. You put GIFs in your replies and that sort of stuff. They've done a great job of making it engaging. There's also as well, if you go here, there is what's known as leaderboards. So people, as they earn points, and the way that you earn points is by commenting and putting valuable comments in there that other people like. So you get a point. So you move up through the grades as you do that. As you can see in my community, on the highest one. There's a 7-day leaderboard, so you can have little giveaways for whoever's done the most inside the community this week. You got an all-time leaderboard, 30-day. And all-time, and I'd have the all-time. That would be something you could do like a New Year's Eve thing and see who's the all-time leader, who's the champion for your community. Give something away every Christmas Eve. I don't know. Make a mayor for the day. Who knows? All sorts of things that you could do there around engagement. It's an interface, as I said, so people can come and see what's going on in the actual community, and they don't have to worry about fighting through all the noise and trying to find information on social media. You can know how well that works these days. Dashboards, so if you click on, if I go to my face there, what it's got there, so that dashboard shows each day. So like Wednesday the 18th of October, the 22nd, I had 19 activities on the platform. You can go in there and see who your most active people are. It gives them a way of tracking how they're going and what they're doing and how much benefit they're putting into the community, how much they're serving the rest of the community. Experimentation. So I've got a little tab here called, hard to remember all this when you're on the, where's my tabs? Go back to home, that's where I need to be. I've got a tab here called improvements. So people can go in there. You can upload video straight from it. If I wanted to, and this is one that I did yesterday, I just did that straight from my phone. So there's no, this makes this quick and easy to do this section, before and after video. Because all we've got to do here is, if we wanted to do another video, we go test, we create a little post, says add a video, select the file, take the video. So that there now, I could just go and take that video, talk through that, hit it, and that will post it. You go and have a look at a sample one that I did there yesterday, which is that one just there. See if that'll play through. We were having this problem with people not understanding the 8 wastes. It was getting explained at pre-start, but people just weren't picking up what was getting put down. So what we did is we created this little picture just here that we've got pinned up on the sites now. We explained the difference to them between linear and exponential, and we explained to them that 10% of what they do every day is actually driving the project and getting us our results, and 90% of it's non-value added activity, so they can start seeing these things every day. And then it's pinned up on the wall at our little hut in the pre-start, and we speak to it every morning. Okay, so that's quick and simple to do. The other thing which is in here, which is highly powerful, is this go live function. So we could, speak to something that the council's currently doing. This is a project that we're on. Everyone, you can call in and have your input into it. So they can sit on there live, and you can have, you can have as many people as you want on there at any given time. So you can just have like a discussion, a think tank type thing, or you could run it as a webinar as well, where I could jump on and interview someone and then pull different people in and ask questions. The crowd could ask questions, those sorts of things. Extremely powerful little platform for the price of it, which is $9. As I say, you can get the basic package for $9 US per month. All right, actually, I'm just going to ask while here, if you're getting value out of this today, I've just put a post up on LinkedIn, which is relevant to what we're doing today as well. That's the lies that we tell ourselves. There's a great, I don't know if you've seen the video, the movie the movie called Bleed for This. There's a line in it by the boxer in there, Vinny, I can't pronounce his last name, but he says, if you just do the thing that they tell you that you can't, then it's done. All right? People will tell you that you can't do this, you can't change your community, it's not that simple, it's not that easy. And that's, he says, is the lie. They tell you the lie they tell you is it's not that simple. I've just put a post up. If you look for Santa Claus, you'll find him quick and easy, called I Can't Draw and Other Lies That We Convince Ourselves Are the Truth on LinkedIn. If you get across it, have a look at that. Drop a comment, hit a like button, share it around. That would be fantastic. All right, why this works. Just about done. So we only need incremental actions, but they're going to drive exponential results. Little things don't just add up, they compound. At a certain point, 2-second lean improvements compound to something huge. Paul Akers did that with his, he created 2-second lean, fast cap. FASTCAP. Jump on YouTube and have a look. He created a process where he just got his people to make a 2-second improvement every day. They did it and compounded. They're now at the point where they are in the manufacturing industry, they're 9 times more effective than the industry average. 9 times by making small incremental improvements every day. It's incremental actions that'll drive 10x results. It's simple. Dr. Eli Goldratt in Theory of Constraint told us for anything like this to take, it must be simple. We tick that box. It's a great, what my mate Tom Hughes calls a great process. Get to the Gemba to do it, which is where the work happens or where the people are. We make it easy to recognise. It's an easy to recognise system. Easy to do, it is very easy to do. Anyone can do that. Anyone can do 2-second lean, take it and use it within their team, organisation or community. It needs to be available at the work front where there actually people need to use it. School makes it available on your phone. Everyone can join the community for free. You can have a free community. You don't have to charge people for, other than a $9 per month to have a community, there's no other charge. You can have your whole community join it for free. That makes it available at the use. No one's more than 6 feet from their phone at any given time unless they're probably in the shower. There's about the only time of the day that they don't have their phone available with them to be able to do this. Tested and trained. Already showed you how to train people, to show people how to use it. You just get in there and you create a video or you do it live. Simple. Extremely simple. It eliminates the 8th waste, which is the most insidious of all. Wasted talent, wasted potential. It creates autonomy, gives people a purpose, and lets them drive towards mastery of building their Australia's leanest community town. Okay. Where I fit into the picture in this is I can work with one town. Again, as I said, if you want to reach out, just reach out with the words Australia's leanest town. There's 2 things that I can help you with. Okay, so I'll become your wingman. So I've got your back. I help you create alignment through all these groups we've got up here that we need to get in line, get them all in flow, and I'll show you how to avoid the traps. I've done this on big construction projects. Works exactly the same way in a community. It'll work. Also, for me, I'm the catalyst. So I'll do, funnily enough, videos like this to explain to people what's going on. I'll be involved heavily inside your school platform, running the lives, creating these videos here, before and after videos, getting people up to speed with how to do this the best. Remove roadblocks and mitigate the resistance to change. That sounds like something at this point, if you watch this far, there's 1 or 2 conversations going on in your head. Number 1, when I say, is that something you like to do, something you like to work with me with? You probably got the Roy Kent story going on in your head.
Roy, you come to the club tonight?
Hold on, will you be there?
Of course, bro.
Then fuck no.
Or number 2 is this story.
You son of a bitch, I'm in.
Okay, if we got the number 2 story going on, reach out with the words Australia's leanest town, because you don't want to get to January 21 and start 2026 like this. Speak soon. You don't want to start 2026 like this. I'm starting a new pilot program called 2026 Pre-Season Training. It's for leaders who want to get their team match fit before the whistle blows and the 2026 season kicks off. So if you're running a good company or a team and you want to hit 2026 in a sprint, this is your window right now to set it up. We'll custom build your 12-month plan and drop it into a Trello board so that you actually track it and use it. We'll resource it properly so the work actually gets done, and set you up a school community so that you're ready to get rhythm from day one. We'll be setting it all up using Goldrat's project rules of flow to mitigate the 12 causes of project failure, because that's exactly what this is and how you need to treat it as a project. And you'll also be learning to leverage AI where it counts to get the most impact. This isn't some paint by numbers cookie cutter course. It's pre-season training custom built for your business. There's only 10 spots and we'll have it wrapped up so that you're ready to run before we hit Christmas. DM me the words 2026 pre-season training and I'll send you all the details, because you really don't want to start 2026 like this.